is a privilege to better the lives of others. These are the words spoken by Mwai Kibaki, arguably one of the greatest political leaders. And these words are befitting our guest today, who's associated with many social causes that he believes in. I'm talking about Harsh Songra, VP of Technology at QK Digital Media, India's largest creator network. He's also CEO and founder of My Child app, a mobile app to help parents screen developmental disorders in children. My Child app was started when Harsh was 16, and at the age of 18, he raised $100,000 from international VCs like 500 startups. A part of Forbes 30 Under 30 India and Asia lists, he's been a speaker at TEDx Gateway and TEDx Jaipur. And he's here with us today in this brand new episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by ET Edge. At Cutting Chai Conversations, we try to have an enriching discussion around the areas of the early life of our guest speaker, their education and training, business sense, skills augmentation, and work life balance. I'm your host, Deepthi Diwan, and today I shall be in conversation with Harsh, where we learn about his journey so far and his vision. So, Harsh, a very warm welcome to Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we are enthralled to have you here. You're such a young achiever, so I'm sure you can inspire a lot of our viewers who are watching this. So let's get started. At the outset, Harsh, we'd ask you to rewind a little bit and take us through your early years, your formative years. Tell us about your family, your school days. I believe you studied at Campion School and Jawaharlal Nehru School. So, any instances from these early childhood days that have had an impact on you?
Sure. So, my childhood is a bit different than the people that we usually like than the way people usually have their childhoods. I when I was born, I had some complications, and because of which things turned into a disorder. I have a developmental disorder called apraxia. It took my parents over 9 years to figure that out. So from the age of 2 till 11, my parents did not know what's happening with the child, right? Like they were always confused that, hey, why is he learning how to walk at the age of 4? Why is he not able to do right things properly? But at the same time, during my school years, probably when I was in fifth standard, I got to play with computers at a very early age. I started playing with computers when I was like 5, 6, and at that time it was like a luxury. Yeah, I at the age of 10, I guess I asked my dad, ki, hey, you know what? I play all these games. Can I end up creating them? He's like, sure, like this is a bash script. This is how it works. Run a command prompt on Windows and start writing. And then after a while, he told me a simple QBasic program that helped me write, hello world on my computer. And that was like a life changing moment for me, So, yeah, I guess I did not. A lot of things that happened in my school did not directly impact my life, but indirectly, because school made me feel very lonely. And because of that, I used to come back and be like, hey, you know what? I can learn how to make a computer do what I wanted to do. I can not play cricket properly outside my home, but inside my home, I can, hit six sixes and six balls. This is just a better life to have. So, yeah, from a very young age, I was pretty intrigued towards computers, and that's why I started coding and learning how the world of technology works.
Hmm. Absolutely. During this time, I'm sure it must have been a little disorienting for you. How did you, manage to come out of it? And uh, when you started, working on your computer, creating things, how did that make you feel? And how did was it at that point that you decided that I want to make a career in this?
So, see, a 10-year-old will never know what to make a career in, right? Like, I used to feel like I, I used to dream that I will become a cosmologist because I was pretty inspired by Stephen Hawking all my life. Okay, like he was a person who had disorders, made something big. I have a disorder, still figuring out what it is. Maybe I will do something like that. But the point is, when I was 11, 12, my parents went to a psychologist, and the psychologist was able to tell them that, hey, you know what, the marks that he's getting in school does not matter. Your child has a level of brilliance that he can use in one form or the other, but conventional education would not support it at this moment. And my dad was able to support the evidence that my psychologist gave with the skill of coding that I was able to develop. You know, so I guess the instance that totally changed everything was, you know, like the entire flip in the way my parents told me to look at the world after the psychologist came in. Before the psychologist came in, they were protecting me because,
Hmm.
you know, they did not know what's happening. After the psychologist came in, my parents were like, you are great in one thing, just focus on that, we will take care of everything else. You know, so I guess the protection in the start and the freedom in the follow up which came after the psychologist is something that helped me grow and build my interest towards technology.
Hmm. And I'm sure it made you feel differently about yourself also after that.
Yeah, of course. I realized early on that marks don't matter that much.
Hmm.
Marks do matter uh, for everyone, but I did feel that there are some things that our conventional education system right now does not support, and I'm okay to not, you know, follow those conventions. ऐसा नहीं है कि I used to not get failed, okay, मतलब I used to get passing marks, but that was it, right? My objective was always to complete my paper, come back home, open a blue screen, start writing white characters, and see whether my code is running or not. Like that was my objective since the age of 10 till the age of at least 15, 16.
Right. Well, a very great point you made there. In fact, if we have any educationists watching this, I'm sure then they can try and change the way things are in the education system. It's time, I think. We'll talk about your higher studies. You went to Bhopal School of Social Sciences to study computer science. Uh, Tell us about your stint there, and thereafter you got a degree in digital
I,
marketing.
I did not go there to study. I dropped out. So
Yeah.
I went to the college for like 1.5 years,
Hmm.
and then I realized. So okay, so the problem was, and I'm not saying I have more knowledge than my teachers, but it's just that I got bored,
Hmm.
and I was able to raise $100,000 for my startup back then. I was like, hey, I told my dad that, hey, you know what? Uh, 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 if I'm able to support myself, and if I'm not pushing you to support me that much, I will also save you college fees. So let me drop out. You know, my of course I did need a lot of my parents' support even after dropping out. But like that was a great entry point that hey, people are validating what I am. Let me go to that path instead of taking a degree that will lead to the same kind of validation,
Hmm.
right? Uh, the digital marketing degree was actually like a need. There was a very good Udacity course on you know, how to learn how to be a digital marketer. It is like a nano degree. It is not like a degree as such. And the reason I did it is because you know, it was just a need to learn how to be a digital marketer to run your own startup. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm learning, getting something in return, why not do that? So like I guess all the things that I've put on my LinkedIn or on my resume right now are actually degrees or certificates that I've gotten online. I've not completed any college as such. I do not have any kind of college life or did not have any chance to build on that at any point.
Right. So, what were these experiences like? Would you like to elaborate a little bit on this?
Sure. So, I mean, okay, so people feel dropping out is very glamorous. Like, like you drop out, you raise some money, you start a company. That never happens. Dropping out is actually a very lonely way of living a life. In your prime years, when you can go out and enjoy life, you're actually focusing on something and trying to build what you feel is the future, what you feel is the dream. So it is fulfilling, yes, but at the same time it is very lonely because only few family members, few good friends are there, and they are a close packed who keep you together. Let's just say that if they were not there, you will probably, you know, go to the point of insanity. But it is just an experience that, I mean, most people should not have, uh, unless and until they have like a dream towards which they have a full conviction and they are like, okay, you know what, I want to follow it, I want to do it and reach there in one way or the other. So I didn't have a college life. I didn't go to pubs to enjoy things. So yeah, I missed out on that. But I was able to build something which is valuable for few parents around the world, and I'm happy about it.
Absolutely. And I think there's a great learning there. Well, most of us, we just, go through things that we feel are required. But if you believe in something strongly and if you have people around you supporting that, then you should go for it and look where you are today. So I think that's a great example. And
I would
we,
recommend people to not get inspired and not drop out. I guess that's one thing that I would like to clear out.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But like you said, instead of just pursuing something without clear goals, if you have some clear goals in mind, then why not chase them, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Harsh, we'll dive into your professional life now. Tell us about the evolution in your career. Your career does seem a bit different also. It seems that you have not taken the common path, but you've created your own trail. So,
Yeah.
our viewers would really like to know from you about this journey.
Sure. So I started my career. I didn't know that I was starting my career, first of all. I started things with My Child app. It was just a mobile app that I thought would be able to help parents in one way or the other. And My Child app, like got a lot of
Hmm.
excitement from the world outside, right? So Facebook was able to support us. Sheryl Sandberg wrote about us. I was able to raise money. All that happened when I was 19, and it was just a lot of hustle to make it work for the next 4 to 5 years. But like I realized that to build a company like My Child app, or to work for the mission for My Child app, uh, I and the entire team will need to figure out a way to sustain. And unfortunately, we were not able to sustain. So My Child app is still running, and Samir, who is the founder, one of the founders of Qki, also an investor at My Child app.
Hmm.
He told me that, hey, you know what, come shadow me and learn how to be a founder, because there are still a lot of things that you need to do. Uh, and in my head it was very clear, hey, I'm like getting an MBA for which I will get paid, and I'm going to shadow one of the biggest founders, investors in the country, even in the world. Why not do that? So I started shadowing Samir. I did that for almost a year. So 2016 to 2019, I was working on My Child app. 2015 to 2019, I was working full time on My Child app. 2019, 2019 to 2020, I was giving like 60% of my time to Kyoki, shadowing Samir, helping him. So I was sitting in investor meetings, tech meetings, business meetings, sales meeting, HR meeting, account meeting, name the meeting. But it was just a lot of learning experience coming from the person who has been there, done that for the past so many years.
Hmm.
And after a while, I got so I fell in love with the idea of what QQ was doing, and I told Samir, and Samir asked me if I want to help them in a much better way. So after that, I started heading technology for QQ, and from 2020, and here I am.
Wow. And over the years, Harsh, what is the kind of leadership style that you have picked up and your team skills? What is, your way of doing things and how does that work for you?
So I personally don't feel that I am a great leader yet. Again, like the benchmark that I feel see is people like Samir, like who have built an excellent uh, culture in a company like Yuki, who have built an excellent ecosystem where the teams feel comfortable around their leaders. I'm still working on it, but yeah, like Samir used to say, a high IQ leader is always better. Sorry, a high EQ leader is always better than a high IQ leader. So I'm trying to build up my EQ as much as I can, and to be a leader which will be, like which will. So I want to be a leader for whom, to whom like everyone comes and is comfortable sharing their problem,
Hmm.
comfortable to be like, hey, you know what, if I'm at work, things will be fine. Most team members do not feel comfortable. I feel in a lot of organizations. So, for example, in QK, we are doing a lot of things, and again, it's a cultural leadership phenomenon. It's not something that I have done or just Samir has done. So,
Hmm.
like, we have a mental health policy where we allow people to have free therapy
Wow.
in the country, in the company, right? And we have a partner through with whom they can book therapy sessions, and all their therapy sessions are free of cost, right? Like a good health insurance, people just take it for granted, but a good health insurance for your team members is very helpful during times like COVID. And so I guess leadership is built in two ways. One is, of course, that manager who is leading the team, he should have a high EQ, which I don't have. I'm still trying to build it. And of course, culturally, it all comes down to policies and how the upper management sees the entire ecosystem, which I feel in QK we see it in a really great manner.
Well, that is indeed very commendable and a great initiative by QK, free therapy sessions for the employees. And of course, that I'm sure promotes a lot of productivity,
Yeah.
and a great atmosphere in the company. Thank you so much for sharing that, Harsh. Harsh, we would like to know how do you keep working upon your skills? How have you over the years invested in yourself, and currently, what do you do to keep improving and honing upon your skills?
Okay, so one of the things that, okay, just like people hold, so I'm a course holder. I would say that I go to Udemy, figure out, okay, this is something I need to learn. I will just buy that course, maybe forget it. But like every weekend, I make it a habit to either go through one of the courses that I have bought or read one of the books that is kept on my shelf. And I guess that's the only way in which you keep on developing your skills, especially in the world of technology. I mean, the languages I used to code in 10 years ago versus the languages I code in right now are massively different. The fundamentals are same, but the languages are different, the frameworks are different. So I guess it's important to just, and also networking. I will literally ping anyone on LinkedIn and tell them that, hey, you know what, this is interesting, I would like to know more about it, can I get on a call with you? And I literally do that to end up being at a place where I can learn more and more from people as much as I can.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And we would like to know a little bit about your personal life now. Any hobbies and interests that you pursue, that you get the time to pursue, and how do you maintain your work life balance?
Okay, so work-life balance is like a myth, but anyway, work-life balance is, so see again. I like coming home, spending time with my partner. Like I make sure that we watch TV together. We watch something together before sleeping. So that there's a wind down happening.
Hmm,
uh hobbies as such I don't have right now. I'm trying to, again, like my hobby is to code. So like that's a very, like my work is to code, my hobby is to code. So whenever like, but on free time I try building my own projects, as I try figuring out if, hey, this is a good problem on the internet, can I solve it in one way or the other. So like that's the only way I manage to have some sort of work life balance. But I don't think I have any work life balance. Like I feel my work and life go hand in hand with each other. Let's
hmm.
just say that, because I work from home literally. But yeah, these are the only two things I have.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Harsh. And before we conclude, any piece of advice you'd like to give to our viewers or watching this who are perhaps at the start of their careers, who would want to follow your path? And also, what about you? Like, what is something that you're really looking forward to over the next few years in terms of your career and your life?
Okay. Uh, the advice that I would like to give to people is simple. Like instead of focusing on a lot of things and figuring out this will work out, like if you are trying to hedge your bets, either hedge with one focus or focus on one thing and play the long game. So
Mm,
if you are focusing on, let's say, figuring out how your cloud, like I want to be an expert in building cloud infrastructure, right? Like make sure that you end up doing it on the weekends to figure out more about it. Make sure
mm,
that you end up meeting more people about it. Make sure that you focus and build on top of it, at least for the next 3 4 5 years, to just understand the core fundamentals. See, in the world of information technology and technology overall, fundamentals are the key. Once you understand it, you can build anything on top of it. So whatever you're choosing, just have very strong fundamentals, have a first principles approach, and you will be able to uh, be the best at it. Let's just say that. Um, uh, the thing about I'm interested about is actually Web3. Uh, I feel as a technologist, uh, a decentralized internet and the way it may end up working is going to be changing a lot of lives, ecosystems, and traditional institutions. Again, we are seeing a lot of volatility in the entire in Web3 right now, but I feel the ecosystem is strong enough to just focus and take it forward. So I'm hoping to see more companies like Polygon coming out of India and more innovations like Zero Knowledge coming out of India.
mm. Well, thank you so much, Harsh, once again for sharing that. It's indeed been a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for sharing with us your success story. And may you have many, many more successes. Well, thank you for this interesting and candid conversation, which I'm sure our viewers have really enjoyed. That was Harsh Songra, ladies and gentlemen, VP of Technology at QKey Digital Media and founder of My Child app. What a great conversation. To all our viewers who are delightfully watching this conversation, we shall bring you many more such exciting episodes of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories. Watch this space for more. And now let me welcome to this conversation Mr. Aditya Agarwal, Head Large Enterprise Lenovo India. Aditya brings with him many years of diverse experience in technology marketing. He has deep expertise in the whole gamut of IT marketing, product management, marketing strategy, marketing management, market research, advertising, CXO events, product launches, digital marketing, lead generation, database marketing, and corporate branding. Hello, Aditya. How are you doing?
Hey, Dipti, all good. How are you?
Great, Aditya. So, what do you have to say about all that Harsh has shared with us?
One, hi Harsh, I heard, and I think one, it takes great courage to say what Harsh has said. And, he's been very open about it. And I am just hoping that people across find inspiration,
Hmm.
right? I definitely do, right? Because, what he told about Marx, right? That something is in the minds of people, it's still not in the hearts of people, right? So they think about it, but in the end, when people get, or kids get a report card, they still look at the difference between 100 and whatever marks that are there, right? So I am sincerely hoping that people when they hear this, they
Hmm.
find that inspiration, and I certainly did.
Absolutely, Aditya, agree with you. And a special mention to the parents. I think Harsh's parents have been very instrumental in that role because if they do not accept, the situation, and they do not look at what, the positive outcome could be, then that gets very difficult for the child also. So I think Harsh was at a very impressionable age, but having parents that understood his strengths and asked him to focus on his strength, I think that was great. So we had to mention your parents, Harsh.
Of
And
course.
That's the I feel I'm lucky to have parents like them. I guess I mean Mark Anderson wrote a blog post that there are four kinds of luck which ends up being making a successful person. I don't remember all the four kinds, but yeah, this is one of the kinds of luck that I was sharp with.
hmm, absolutely. And you're humble enough to, accept a lot of things. So thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'll quickly now put forth a question that we would like to know your thoughts on. And
Sure.
we'll put it to both Harsh and Aditya. So I'll go with Harsh first. Harsh, according to you, what are the top IT challenges that you foresee going forward?
I feel privacy is a big challenge. I think a lot of systems that are currently being built are not for privacy. And for example, a lot of SaaS tools that are used in house uh, by companies do not support privacy of employees, and employer has access to everything, stuff like that, which I understand. But at the same time, I feel in the world that is going to be in the next 5-10 years, privacy is going to be a big uh, mechanism which large scale enterprise companies might need to look at, because most of the new age zillennials or Gen Z employees are privacy first and not like okay and not like feature first. Let's say that.
Hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing those pointers. And coming to you, Aditya, what are the top IT challenges that you foresee going ahead?
See, I'll speak mainly from what we deal with and what our customers deal with. Because if you look at it, the gamut is pretty vast on how do you use blockchain to coming down to very very minute stuff. But what we see around, and I echo what Dash said, is that security, and that includes privacy, data security. I think that's becoming more and more important because one, you have several tools like you talked about the SaaS tools, but what you also have is with whole pandemic coming in. People are no longer just working in offices, right? People are
Yeah.
working at homes. They are working from cafes. It's become work from anywhere today,
Yeah.
right? Today, where I'm sitting is not where I was sitting yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So that brings in definitely new challenges from our security. And what I've seen on security, and I'll take it one step further on security, where I've seen a lot of companies grappling, is how do you find a balance between
Yeah.
security and user experience,
Correct.
right? Because you can be 100% secure, but people will hate you, or
Yeah.
you can be 100% user friendly, but then your security is a nightmare, right? So I actually feel, and given technology companies, right, you have a, a demand for talent, and you want to retain people, right? And you don't want to say, hey, you are behind a firewall right now. So
Yeah.
this whole thing kind of encapsulates a lot of challenges that companies today are facing, and we need to find a solution around this.
The most private internet browser has the worst user experience in the world. So like,
Yep.
so Tor is a browser, everyone uses it because it's private, but it's very bad. Like you will open a website like Google in 5 to 10 seconds, which is by the way a very bad load time.
Yep. 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 So finding that balance is what everyone is asking me, that hey, how do we do this? And without spending millions of dollars again. So you could do that, but you need to make it feasible and viable to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Aditya and Harsh, for your valuable inputs. And I'll now leave you two great minds to discuss a lot more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and having this great conversation on Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.